Hello everyone and welcome back to This Week in Racing. Today we have a lot of news to talk about, including a lot of LMDh and hypercar news from IMSA and the FIA WEC, and wrapping up the Goodwood Hill Climb with a new record holder. But before we get into it, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any weekly news videos, auto racing clips, and compilations. Let's start off with IMSA making its return to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Multiple cars are missing this race due to border restrictions and, in the case of carbon racing, crashes. Make sure to stay tuned for a full in-depth recap of the IMSA weekend north of the border. Moving across the Atlantic to England, former IndyCar driver Max Chilton set a new Goodwood Hill Climb record in the McMurtry Automotive Spearling. A car that, in my opinion, that looks like a Batmobile and a vacuum had a baby. The car zipped up the Goodwood Hill in a speedy 39.5 seconds. Chilton has left IndyCar behind and is pursuing another Le Mans start after his first one came with the failed Nissan LMP1 program in 2015. Moving on to hypercar news across the FIA World Endurance Championship and IMSA. Andretti Autosport might be in the running for an Alpine LMDh program in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship in 2024. A few days ago, Porsche revealed its 963 LMDh car in full livery for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship and the FIA WEC. The two WEC entries will be run by the factory team, and Team Penske will run the two IMSA entries. The car was revealed at last weekend's Goodwood Festival of Speed. The car is christened the 963 as a lot of ideas for the car's design came from its Group C predecessor, the 962. The car didn't just sit there though, as it also made a test run, not at full speed however. The 963 is the only LMDh car that has turned laps so far, completing about 6,000 kilometers of testing since March of this year. There are many teams on both sides of the Atlantic that are looking for opportunities to run this car, including seasoned Porsche teams Proton Competition and Pfaff Motorsports. But the only customers announced so far have been JDC Miller Motorsports, planning to run an IMSA program, and Jota partnering with Hertz for a WEC program. Cadillac also released images of its new Project GTP hypercar in full, including a new promotional video I'll link to down in the description. Cadillac's plan is to have one car in each series, and maybe being able to run two for big events like the Rolex 24 at Daytona and the Le Mans 24 Hours. We have a little news on next year's Asian Le Mans series, as United Autosports has announced that they will return with a two-car program after winning both Abu Dhabi races this past year. And now for some very promising auto industry news. Gradient Racing IMSA driver Till Bechtelsheimer has announced that he has purchased Lola. Some viewers may have heard of that name before, and as you see in these pictures, they've made Formula 1, Le Mans entries, and even IndyCars. Could IndyCar's days as a spec series be numbered? Anyway, this is going to be a really interesting story to watch. Next up, is the Monaco GP in trouble? Liberty Media, the owners of the Formula 1 Championship, say that moving the French Grand Prix from Paul Ricard to the French city of Nice, which is right next to Monaco, is not pressuring the Monaco Grand Prix in any way. As most of you might know, Monaco is not the best track for a Formula 1 car. It's incredibly narrow, and some races in the past few years have gone the entire 78 laps without a lead change. Even though Monaco is the crown jewel of the Formula 1 calendar, its future is still very much remaining in question. Now let's get to some other headlines from the past couple weeks. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has affirmed his future at JTG Daugherty Racing in the NASCAR Cup Series, and same with Martin Truex Jr. re-signing with Joe Gibbs Racing. There were rumors that Truex might have retired at the end of the season. Indy Lights driver Benjamin Pedersen tested an IndyCar for Juncos Hollinger Racing as they're looking for a second car to run next year. Toyota Hypercar Reserve driver Kenta Yamashita is still looking for a WEC seat, and Proton Competition could be in the running for a privateer Porsche 963. Let's take a look at this week's winners. Wayne Taylor Racing won the Salem 6 Hours of the Glen, Both of Ram Racing's entries won the British GT races at Snetterton. Phoenix Racing took the win at the NLS race this past weekend. Turner Motorsport won at the Michelin Pilot Challenge race at the Glen. And in TCR, Robert Wickens scored an incredible comeback win with Mark Wilkins. Robin Shute became the overall champion at the Pikes Peak Hill Climb, and Max Chilton set the new Goodwood Hill Climb record. So, that's all for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to join the official This Week in Racing Discord server down below, and subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any new updates and news videos. My second channel is also down below in the description if you want to check that out as well. So, that's all for today. Thank you to everyone so much for watching this week's video, and see you next time.